Right now, as I speak, millions and millions of drivers are saving money on their car insurance with GEICO. If you're one of those drivers, well done. If you're not, it's easy to join them. Visit geico.com today.
And now joining us, very pleased to have with us the first MVP of the Holiday Bowl in 1978 with the Naval Academy, a familiar name, also a champion with the New York Giants in the Super Bowl, Phil McConkey. Phil, welcome to the show. You're on with Bruce and Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Bruce. How you guys doing? Glad to be with you.
Good, Phil. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Phil, let's go back 35 years. I know it's been a long time, but we always talk about how the bowl game is such a great experience for the student-athlete. You were one of those student-athletes back in 1978. Tell us about what it was like to come to a bowl game and how it affected your life at the time.
Well, for us at Navy, to go to a bowl game, it was extra special in that we hadn't been, or Navy hadn't been to a bowl game since Roger Staubach was there. So you're talking almost 15 years without a bowl game. And again, in 1978, there may have been a dozen bowls. It's not like today where you get 6 wins, you're going to a bowl game. It was very special. And then you add to the fact that it was San Diego, and we're a Navy team. And coming to San Diego, which is such a hub for the Navy, it made this, to us, feel like it was the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, all wrapped into one.
And now, Phil, you are part of one of the greatest plays in Holiday Bowl history, and it all happened in 1978, the 65-yard touchdown pass from Bob Lashinsky. Tell us about that one.
Well, first of all, leading into the game, I can remember, being out here and practicing. The day before the game, I had a terrible fever and didn't get to go to the walkthrough and was extremely sick. Did make it out to the game, and as often as I think about that one, I think about the 40-yard touchdown I had that was called back for a whole team. Sometimes it's the ones that get away that haunt you. But the touchdown, the 65-yard touchdown, was a simple go route. I was to the right of the formation, and actually the defensive back had pretty good coverage, and Bob threw it up over my outside shoulder, and I was able to go up over the defensive back. He lost it, come down with it, and just waltz into the end zone. To win the game and to be down 16-3 to Jim McMahon and Mark Wilson and that strong Brigham Young club was a wonderful way for us to end our college careers at the Naval Academy. And again, we said before the season started we wanted something that we could remember for the rest of our lives, and we went out and did it. And 35 years later, we're still talking about it and still cherishing it.
You bet. 23-16, the final. Navy won that inaugural Holiday Bowl back in '78. Hey, Phil, one of our traditions, and it continues today with the Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl, is we have lunch on an aircraft carrier with the two teams. And we have done that every year since 1978, with the exception of 1 year when there weren't any carriers in port. But we found it kind of ironic back in '78. How many players do you recall had never been on an aircraft carrier before from your team back in '78 when we first did it?
Well, I know there were guys that had been on ships many times before during our time at the Naval Academy. I don't know how many had been on a carrier, but I do remember us. Quite a few guys didn't actually make the trip. We had been there, done that kind of thing. And I think George Welsh even joked, we've all tasted carrier food before, so that was no big deal to us. It wasn't a treat to us as it was for Brigham Young or many of these other student-athletes that come to San Diego for the Holiday Bowl and get to do that. For us, it was old hat.
Well, you went on after your Holiday Bowl experience. You went on to the National Football League, played for the New York Giants, where I think you won a Super Bowl, the Packers, the Phoenix Cardinals, and you also played for the San Diego Chargers briefly.
Yeah, I did. It was my last team halfway through the year in 1989. I got picked up by the Chargers, and it's quite ironic that 11 years prior to that, I had taken off my pads at then Jack Murphy Stadium. I was 21 years old and been playing football all my life, and I remember being elated that we won the inaugural Holiday Bowl, and took my pads off thinking this was the last time in my life that I'd ever played football, and taking my pads off at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego. And I remember taking them off very slowly, taking off my uniform, kind of cherishing the moment, if you will, knowing that it'd never happen again. And little did I know I'd be doing the same thing 11 years later in the same stadium, but instead of being a member of Navy, I was a member of the San Diego Chargers, about to be 33 years old. Took my pads off, and that was the last time.
Well, Phil, it has been great having you on the air. Phil McConkey, the first MVP of the Holiday Bowl back in 1978 with the Naval Academy. Again, Phil, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, as always. Let me know whatever I can do to help. It's a great game. It's great for the city of San Diego, and I'm just glad to be a small part of it.
Phil, thanks for joining us.